This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you around the world on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, the Starcom Radio Network, Digital Broadcast Network, and Digital Satellite Network. If you'd like to send an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and you can listen to the X-Zone 724, 365 at www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, is Catherine Wendell, and she is with, Catherine, is it Ocala or Ocala?
Ocala.
Ocala Ghost Walks and Historical Tours. And she has seen and sensed spirits her whole life. She lived and worked in the Ocala historic area for many years. Before doing ghost tours, she helped many people with paranormal problems and is a medium who believes in doing this work with respect to spirit world. She is also a healer who believes angels are always with us and our loved ones watch over us from the spirit world. Healing has melded with the paranormal for her. She looks at life as energy and healing and feels if we viewed ghosts that way, maybe we can help them cross over in some cases. Joining me now is Catherine Wendell. And Catherine, what was it in your life that took you on this path, the road that you're on, to help people better understand ghosts and to teach people about ghosts?
A mixture of things. When I was younger, I saw them, and people didn't always believe me.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it was just a discovery that they really were true. And living in the historic area where there were a lot of ghosts and having things on a regular basis, and then working at an inn and just kind of falling into doing a ghost tour and being around a lot of people who believed in it. So it kind of just happened, honestly. Just kind of evolved from one thing to the next.
When was the first time you saw a ghost?
Well, when I was young, when I was a child.
Can you tell us about that experience?
I more remember seeing just like a shadow or a quick movement.
Mm-hmm.
And having the door open or close or a light turn off or on and things like that. And experiences that could not be explained. And as I got a little older,
mm-hmm.
I started seeing more full forms in that.
So do you mean when you see a ghost, you actually see them in a solid form and not the translucent state that most people do?
They're all different. Depending, I think, how strong they are. Mm-hmm. Some of them are see-through, and some of them they're so real they look just like you or I, and that's why it's shocking, and then they disappear.
So why do some ghosts go across, make the transition to the light, and others stay behind?
I think there's many different reasons. Some don't realize they died, and some think maybe they have something to finish. Some maybe love their house. there's all various reasons, I believe.
How is it possible that a ghost could not know that they're dead? For example, no one interacts with them. They don't have to eat. They don't sleep. So how could we say that a ghost stays behind because the ghost doesn't know it's dead?
Maybe it was just so sudden, It was just so sudden and they didn't, maybe they figure out, eventually that they are, but some of them, they just didn't. I feel like the light comes for everyone and maybe there's some confusion at the time for them.
I see. Can anyone see a ghost?
I think anyone can see a ghost. It's just sometimes when you're just relaxed or you're just, not expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some people who might see them more. But I think anyone can see a ghost. Yeah.
Do people need special training in order to see a ghost, or does this come naturally?
I believe I was born with it, and I know others who have that commonality, and then sometimes it just happens to people, or they become more open to it, and then they start seeing it more often or having things happen.
Why do people go through graveyards to find ghosts? Do ghosts really hang around the place where their body is left to rest?
I always wondered why would they want to be there?
Yeah.
Too, but I don't recall where I read or heard this a long time ago. Is someone said it's kind of like a bus stop. Okay, they know that their body's there and that, and maybe someone will come get them from the graveyard type thing.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, it doesn't make sense to me either. Because I think that would be really boring to wait for people to come visit you there.
Yeah, I agree with you. So
go hang out in a house or something like that.
Hang out in a bar, have a few drinks while you're waiting.
Anything, yeah. It would be more exciting than that.
So tell me, Catherine, where has been the most haunted place that you have ever been?
Well, that one's hard. The most haunted place.
Well, give me a couple of haunted places.
One of the most haunted places is, St. Augustine at the fort.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think because it's just so old in that city. Any old jails, up by the fort area at Fort King here in Ocala, we had a fort for the Seminole War.
Mm-hmm.
And in that area, it's pretty haunted in that area.
Really?
Yes. And then also in our historic district. So the Birdsey house where I used to live, that was one of the most haunted houses I ever lived in.
So tell me about that house. What happened in that house?
I see a woman in a very white, pretty dress, very long dress, button up the neck. Her hair was dark, and she was young. I always used to say not older than 25. And then she really did look just like you or me. She wasn't see-through when I'd see her in the middle of the day. And I see orbs. I'd see mist in the house. I'd hear voices. One time I was telling a haunted story in a chat room, and I typed the end. I heard clapping.
Wow.
It was a crazy house, and it was the house that really helped me, really believe ghosts really existed, because I didn't want to believe because no one used to believe me. Mm-hmm. And then my friends would come over, and they'd hear the same things or see them too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you saw that too? And so the house it's pretty active, and people live there now, and I've been hearing stories. So I've met a lot of people who've had incidences. Yeah.
So tell me about the ghost tours that you do.
It's an outside walking ghost tour mostly. When we first started, we did get to go inside a little more. Mm-hmm. And I taught the history and the haunted history. And I've done a lot of research for the history trying to prove who these ghosts could be.
Right.
And so I do include a lot of history, but we do have a lot of interesting history here. So,
Can you
like the town burning down in 18... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, could you share some of it with us?
Sure. Ocala burned in 1883, 5 square blocks of building on Thanksgiving Day.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. And then we had a Seminole War here, a total of 2. So that's other incidences.
So when you're taking people on these ghost walks, do they get to see, or do they participate in any paranormal activity? Do they get scared?
There has been some people who have seen things and felt things. A lot of people do like to take pictures and feel like they've gotten things in their pictures. And we use that, or they have events at the Seven Sisters Inn, which that's been on a lot of different programs and is reopened for 3 years now.
Right.
And people have come out from all over to the events there. And, I like to ask them, what do you think about the haunts here or the ghosts? And they go, this is some of the most haunted places I've ever been. And some of these people were from the TV shows. Some have been all over. So I found it pretty interesting, the response that people had, visiting.
Do you think at times that going after ghosts or trying to provoke them or invoke them to come out is disrespectful?
I think if you go about it in a rude manner, just like if you were to do that to a person,
right?
It is, because you should try to always treat them with respect in my mind, because they have the feelings that we would when we were alive. It's the same exact. So.
How long are your ghost tours?
They last about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half, but some people say they should be shorter because it isn't a short tour, but there's a lot to show. There really is.
So how many buildings or how many locations would you do? I stop between 10 to 12, give or take some nights, depending if once in a while we can get inside. And lately we've been lucking out and getting in the Fox House, which is 2 Victorian houses put together, and it's real haunted, has a long local history of being haunted too. What's your favorite part about the tour?
I think people being able to share their stories, or maybe that they get to see something or have something happen. Seeing people become believers.
Mm-hmm. So is your ghost tour busier at one particular time of the year compared to other times?
Oh, of course, October. So, yeah. But it has stayed pretty busy, which has been shocking to me even through the summer. We get okay-sized groups, and you get a good sauna out there walking in the summer, even at night.
I see. So how many tours do you do a night? 1 or 2?
I just do 1.
Yeah.
Basically, generally. Mm-hmm.
Do you get more women than men on your tours?
No, I think it's a pretty good even number.
Really? Eh? So tell me, what do you hope to see the paranormal world accomplish?
Maybe to agree that people don't disagree and try to find different ways to prove things, and be open to maybe science being able to prove more. And until then, just maybe to store away some research and don't discount everything. Maybe save it, because down the road you might be able to prove it better.
Mm-hmm.
So,
gotcha.
And stop arguing and fighting so much. So.
Yeah, that should go for everything, my dear, just not the paranormal.
I agree.
Yeah. So Catherine, were you an experienced investigator when you started the ghost tours?
No, not at all. I had experience with house cleansings and blessings. I helped people with problems before I started investigating. I just I believed it, and I kind of poo-pooed it, saying it was silly, because I was kind of afraid of it in the beginning.
Why?
To be honest, I think because it really would have proved they were real, I guess, in the end. Like, getting that EVP voice was my last step, going, oh my gosh, this is really going to be the real deal if I capture a voice. Because for me and a lot of people, when you get the voice, and you can rule everything out, you know, you really can have something.
Right. So are EVPs real, or are they just sounds that are picked up by the analog or digital recorders? And how do you listen to it afterwards?
Well, with headphones, that's for sure. And, you know, you really have to make sure that you do you really have to try to do a controlled setting and not have any background noise. And, you know, my suggestion is like, if you're at an event, like, just have one group on one floor and maybe have everyone go together for sessions so that you can rule out everything, you know, and you just want to be able to prove it's really real, you know.
Have you come across any evidence so far that you believe is proof beyond a shadow of a doubt that ghosts are real?
Yes.
What was that?
Oh, there's been a lot of things. You know, pictures, everyone can always be a skeptic on pictures, but it's the voices for me. And especially because I at times will hear spirit voice, and I'll say, I just heard blah, blah, blah. And then when it gets picked up at the same time on the recorder, it's really neat. You know, because it's not audible to other people, but I have really good ears, I guess. And sometimes I will hear, and I'll say, I'm hearing such and such, and that has been picked up. And to me, that's pretty proving, because other people were also there. It's on their recorder.
Do you think that you were chosen to do the work that you're doing now?
Sometimes it feels like it. I mean, I didn't really set out to do this. Even maybe 10 years ago or 15, if you said I was going to do a ghost tour and investigate, even though I help people with problems, I really was kind of discreet about it. I wasn't in the public like I am now with it, because there was just a certain attitude towards it.
Yeah. Based on your personal experience as a paranormal investigator, what has been the hardest case you've worked on?
I think that when they call and someone is very frightened and they want you to take care of the problem, and the spouse doesn't want you to, and it's a really bad case where she's so frightened and she's getting sick and they're doing things to really frighten her, and say the husband wants them there, it's a really scary thing. Or when someone becomes afraid and comes with you to the same house, and this was in the forest here, and the woman I brought, I thought she would not become afraid, and she did. And unbeknownst to me, I guess she had some problems going on I didn't know, or I wouldn't have brought her. And so I saw her pushed around the yard, and I was saging, and it seemed like if she stood in the sage smoke, and I know this sounds very crazy, she was okay, but I really seen her pushed back and forth in the yard. And
really? Wow.
It's something I've never seen before, and like, of course, it wasn't videoed. It wasn't nothing. It was just like, you know, you wish you were quicker than you were, but my concern was helping her, so I'm with the sage smoke. There was no one with us, and it was just like, well, I will never go with anyone again, probably, because if they become afraid, they're not helping me at all. So it became like I couldn't even cleanse that time going there. So it was a very disturbing property. and I couldn't help it, because if one person allows something in and the other person wants it gone, then you're at a stalemate there. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. So when you're doing an investigation, how many members of your organization go with you to do the investigation?
Well, a lot of people have moved away that were with me. So I'm kind of doing it alone, and I have a few people that go. So right now it's just a few, and I'm borrowing other teams.
Oh,
so maybe like 5. I don't like big numbers because I feel like that can taint your investigation. So like 5 or maybe 7, but on the events that you do, you just expect more, because maybe it's a once in a while thing. So you get what you get, but
you get what you get.
But when I go to help, yeah, you do get what you get sometimes, and it's an opportunity to see a place sometimes and experience a different spirit.
Mm-hmm. So do you go out and also help other organizations to do investigations?
If they call me, I hadn't been doing as many investigations. I've been doing some cleansings or helping people, if you will. Lately, I've been, I guess, getting back to what I started.
Right.
With. Yeah.
All right, Catherine, you and I have to take a commercial break for the news at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by, my dear. Exo Nation, Catherine Wendell is our special guest this hour. www.ocalaghostwalks.com. That's OCALA ghostwalks.com. And Catherine and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't forget, Exo Nation, if you would like to vote on the Billy Meyer debate that we had in the first 2 hours of tonight's show, the poll is open at www.xzoneradiotv.com, and we will keep the poll up for the next 10 days. The X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we're here Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here in the X Zone and around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network, the Starcom Radio Network, Digital Broadcast Network, and Digital Satellite Network. My name is Rob McConnell. I'll be back with Catherine Wendell when we return on the other side of this break. Don't go away. What if Jesus came back now and insisted that we listen to him? How would the world be different if Christians really followed the Gospels? For 2,000 years, we've been practicing a religion. Now it's finally time to get it right. Read Liberating Jesus, new from Roberta Grimes. Meet the Jesus you never knew. Roberta uses afterlife evidence and biblical analysis to prove that Jesus is exactly right. Learning the lessons that he came to teach is the reason we are born at all. Roberta says he has come back now to insist that we actually listen to him so we can begin to use his teachings to unite and transform the world. Liberating Jesus on Amazon, October 1st, and then wherever books are sold. Jesus has the answers, and it's not too late. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State certified occupational school training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
The Carl O. Helvey Holistic Cancer Foundation is a new nonprofit foundation that focuses on a holistic approach to cancer that includes physical, mental, spiritual, and political aspects. Cancer education, research, and care are provided for all types of cancer patients. You can listen to interviews with cancer doctors and survivors and read research on holistic aspects of cancer at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com. That's www.holisticcancerfoundation.com. Hear ye, hear ye! The king has just announced the release, no pun intended, of the latest book of comedy, The Endearing Fart by Eileen Dover, noted fartologist. The endearing fart from our butt does it done. Without it we'd all suffer inside. So let it be, release it with glee, it's not comfy or easy to hide. The social norm would have us conform to withholding our gas for decorum. I'll not be a martyr, but rather a farmer. I'll risk being thought of a moron. But noisy but free, come fart with me. Will not be shy or unyielding. A smelly toot? Who gives a hoot? It's natural, healthy, good feeling. The enduring fart is the perfect gift just for about anyone. Buy now at tinyurl.com/to buy now. Good real estate websites are not just about showing listings, but offering visitors valuable information about neighborhoods, market statistics, tips, and personal insights. Luckily, you will find that on Roost, but you won't on many other real estate websites in Budapest. That's why we created Roost. Roost is a website with tailored results for the foreign investor, curated by Hungarian-loving expats who found their home abroad and decided to roost in Budapest. Let Roost help you get started on the right foot. Whether you intend to live, work, play, retire, or simply invest abroad, Roost offers all types of properties in Budapest, from affordable studios to luxury homes. From neighborhood insights like where to grab a great coffee or how to buy property, our team of local experts can answer your questions and speak to the direct concerns of a foreign investor. Buying foreign property is an exciting and complex adventure. It can also be very time-consuming and costly if you don't have the best information and resources at hand. Roost provides professional real estate services and assistance to an international clientele of foreign property investors and rental apartment owners in Budapest. For more information on Roost, visit their website at www.roost.co. That's www.rooste.co.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Welcome back, everyone. Catherine Wendell is our very special guest this hour. She is with Ocala Ghost Walks and Historical Tours. She's the owner, and her website is www.ocalaghostwalks.com. Hey, Catherine, thanks so much for taking time and joining us here tonight on the X-Zone to share your experiences and to tell us about your ghost tours.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's my great pleasure, dear. What have you learned in the 7 years of doing your ghost tours and investigating, dear?
I've learned that a lot of people have been able to come forward and share their stories and be believed for once. And I've learned a lot of history, and the more I keep digging, the more I keep learning. And it's a forever process to learn maybe who the names of some of them. I've been able to prove some of the names, and that's been great to be able to do, is prove, that some of them really did exist and who they are.
You know what I appreciate about a young lady like yourself who is doing the work that you're doing is you're keeping history alive.
Yes.
And that's commendable.
Yes. Well, without history, the ghosts wouldn't be there, or some sort of history, whatever it might be,
Why do you think, Catherine, that ghosts hang around bars and pubs, hotels? Is it the ambiance? Do they like being around people? Is it the energy that we give off when we're alive that is of some comfort to them?
I think it's that, and in bars, sometimes you get the ones who like to drink in life, too, and that's a whole other subject. Like, I think they like to siphon off the fumes, and I've seen beer do weird things when there was a ghost around, and I knew that ghosts like to drink, and it was a crazy thing. So,
but let me ask you this. If a ghost is a spirit or energy, how can they get drunk?
That's what I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a great question, because if they can do that, and if they can open and close the door and hang up a towel,
right?
Can't they do the dishes?
Yeah, that's a good point. Or cut the lawn.
No.
Wash the windows.
And it's just a joke, but not really, because they can do, but I guess they don't want to do the dishes, so they don't. So, but I don't know how they do that. I just feel like their energy, and somehow they can tap into our world, still tap into this world.
What has been the funniest or the strangest thing that has happened to you either on your ghost tour or doing an investigation?
The funniest or strangest thing? I have to think about that one. One time it was Halloween, and I was with a news person, and she had a camera, and luckily she was a one-woman show, and this grave we were by was the knocking grave. And I was just like, well, we've recorded knocking here while we were standing here. And I noticed, I said, oh my gosh, his birthday's today. It's a Halloween. And so I said, happy birthday. And a part of my clothing was undone. And I was like, wait, you just got to stop that camera right now. Why? I said, you just do. And so I took care of it. And it was funny and embarrassing and strange. And I was ready to move on.
So you mean...
No more happy birthday for him.
You mean the ghost kind of popped a button on you?
Yeah, something like that.
How rude.
An undergarment, yes.
Oh, jeez. Mm-hmm. Now that's just getting too personal.
It was horrible, and I was on camera, and it was just the worst thing in the whole world. And I wouldn't say until she turned the camera off because I was like, I'm not going to be recorded saying this at all. So
Oh, my
I was like, oh my gosh, of all the times. And I just said happy birthday to him. And I'm telling you, I never had a problem with that garment ever before. Never. I never had a problem with that undergarment. Never before or after. And it was right after I said that. And I was not going to go get him balloons or anything after that.
No,
So.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Exonation Catherine Wendell's my guest, www.ocalaghostwalks.com. Let me ask you a question. Now, this is a question people seem to ask a lot whenever I talk to schools or I go out and do a lecture, and I have a hard time answering this one. Do our loved ones actually come to visit us after they pass?
Yes. Yes, they do. And I feel like they watch over us.
Mm-hmm.
Right after they pass, and they check in on us a little more often just to make sure we're okay. And then I think they have things to do, and they take turns watching over us. That's, so...
What's the difference between a ghost and a spirit?
A ghost is a spirit. I believe they're both spirits, but a ghost is earthbound, whereas a spirit is one that went to light upon passing. So, in my mind, the ghost is going to be the one that drains your battery, blows the light bulbs, does those kind of things, whereas the one that went to light doesn't need that energy source.
So the spirit goes to the light and then returns?
They visit you, and they'll do little things so you know that it's them, perhaps, or you might smell fragrant, sorry, I can't say the word.
Fragrance?
And find a feather.
Right.
Some people find pennies, that kind of thing.
What messages typically do our loved ones want to convey to us after they pass, Catherine?
I think most of the time, so people know that they're okay, and life is short, and a lot of times it's about forgiveness and, not wanting people to, keep grieving so much, even though I'm human too.
Right.
But, and sometimes they might convey things that only that person knows so that they really know it's them.
Do you get a lot of people asking you to communicate with the other side?
During certain periods I do, yes.
Yeah.
I don't really advertise that I do that, so maybe if I did, I would. So, yeah.
Tell me about the way you help heal people.
I started doing massage therapy in 1996, and then I learned different healing modalities, one of which is Reiki, craniosacral, and that. And I believe that angels work with people who do healing, and myself as well. And you use universal energy. I used to tell people it was light touch therapy because they thought universal energy was too far out there. But now Reiki is a well more known, thing that people do.
Right.
And you just share that energy with people, and I can do it by laying on the hands, or I can write their name down and hold a piece of paper or hold an object.
Wow.
And do long distance as well.
Another topic people love talking about, Catherine, are angels. What's your take on angels?
Yes.
Do they watch over us?
I really believe they do, yes. Do you want a short story?
Oh, please, yes.
Why I believe
yes, I certainly do.
I was doing... sometimes I worked with some of my clients that I've had that go on to hospice, and they asked me to go with them, to keep doing healing with them, even if they go into that coma that they go in before they pass. And so this one client of mine was in a hospice house, and I had just turned off the TV, which was gospel music, and she used to teach music to children, gospel music. So I knew she'd like that program, and I turned it off, and I continued doing the healing. And out of nowhere came this white feather above me, just floating down. And of course, your hand naturally grabs up to try to reach it, and it just disappeared into nowhere. And there was no reason to explain why that feather came from nowhere. And I had talked to Shirley about believing in the angels and God and trusting in them and, different things. And we would do meditations with the angels while I did healing, because I also do visualization with people. And I just feel like they were saying, you always told her about angels, and here's this feather. We want you to know we're here with you. And that to me was what that feather meant.
You know what I've seen over the years, Catherine, that as popular as ghosts are, as we get closer to Halloween, angels are that popular as we approach Christmas.
And I wish that I think ghosts are just as popular all year round, and I wish angels were as popular all year round.
So do I, dear. So do I. What do you think about shadow people?
Shadow people, a lot of people think that they're only like evil entities, and some shadow people could be, say, someone who took their life or had a darker aura, if you believe in auras. And, why are the orbs different colors and different things? Maybe auras could explain that. But I've viewed some suicides as shadow people. And I've asked other people, I'm like, did someone commit suicide here? Yeah, my son or whatnot. And so it just seems to be that not all shadow people are demonic, like some people think. So.
Tell me something. You work in the paranormal. You deal with people who are sad because they've lost someone. You deal with the ghosts on the other side who are sad because they're not on this side anymore. How do you deal with all the sadness that you're with, and how do you protect yourself from not being possessed by a negative entity?
I do prayers of protection, healthy boundaries, and there's certain things that I'll do with my aura to not absorb other people's energy or things. And so, and hopefully my guardian angels. So I don't put myself in really bad situations for no good reason, because I don't need to investigate that type of thing.
Right.
I believe that that's true. And so, in my opinion, some things are a little darker or harder to handle, but then there's pure evil, and I don't really need to go just investigate it to believe it, type of thing.
I understand. Have you ever been physically touched or physically pushed by a ghost?
I was physically pushed one time at a jail. That was an old jail from the 20s to the 60s.
Right.
And I decided to not investigate haunted jails anymore because there's bad people in there.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
Yes, there are.
It's one time only out of all the haunted places. So, yeah.
That's a pretty good average. That's a very good average. I've heard people talk about sleep paralysis or the old hag syndrome. What's your take on that?
I think some people that I've come across have had negative entities or negative spirits around them. Darker spirits.
Yeah.
And there's a whole other group I'm not sure. There wasn't a lot of books back when I, first started, or way back when I was young. But it's just like groups of people. That's another advantage of the ghost tours, the pure group of people I get to talk to that have all these different things, and you can kind of some different.
So it's an exchange of information as well. Are you still there?
And for
Okay. Are you all right there?
I'm still here.
Okay, great.
I'm here.
Okay, great. So there's also an exchange of information on your ghost tours.
Yes, there's a wealth of information exchange. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what is sleep paralysis?
It seems to be most of the time. Some people actually have some kind of health condition that causes it. I think it's I can't remember it at the moment. So part of people who have it have a health condition, and the other people that have it that I've noticed have dark things that are around them.
Like the shadow people?
Maybe they use the Ouija board. Yeah, and the bad shadow people.
So what's this about a Ouija board? Aren't they just toys? Aren't they just for fun?
No, I don't agree with that. That's actually been my biggest source of calls.
Really?
For the help. And I really don't have, like, say, a spiritual conviction about it, except for they really are my biggest source of calls. And people don't want to always admit it. And in the end, they go, yeah, I did use a board. So, yes.
Why are they so dangerous?
I think that people just don't use them correctly. Perhaps you have a whole school of thought saying they're just another tool. But you have to close it. It just seems to get people into trouble. And then it seems like they have bad luck plaguing them forever. It's really ruined some other people's life that I met. And one young lady, she didn't even play with the board. She bought an antique board that was used.
Right.
She had nothing but a black cloud following her whole life. I closed the board, sent back what came through, got rid of the board, cleansed her in the house, and it changed her whole life around. It was amazing. You can't really prove it, but her life tells a story,
That's right, it does.
In my mind, yeah.
So tell me, when you go to cleanse a house or cleanse a person, how do you do it?
Well, I start off with certain steps, and then after, if they don't work, then I have to kind of hone into my intuition and see what I can pull from. Or I start off with, I smudge it with sage, and I'll open windows, and I'll go in every room with the smoke. And I have a turkey feather I have in a clamshell, because I was taught by my native friends. I'm not saying I'm native at all, but you combine all elements.
Sure.
And then I use holy water over the windows and the entries of the doorway, and I make the sign of a cross. And so then if that doesn't work, then I come back with some incense, and it's a bunch of herbs mixed together, crushed up, and burn it on charcoal, and it doesn't smell real good. And that really has helped some really hard cases. And then other things have been communication with the ghost, figuring out what's bothering them, and different various things.
What's bothering the ghost, or what's bothering the person?
What's bothering the ghost most times.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah, so some people go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you, so what are you up to in the next couple of of months. I know Halloween's going to be a very busy season for you. What do you do in the winter?
In this winter, I'm going to just take time off for the scheduled tours, and I'll still be available if people want to reserve for some groups.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to see what direction I'm meant to go in. I don't have anything in my mind right now, so I'm just going to kind of put it out to the universe and see where I'm meant to go.
I would imagine that you would be available if someone needed your services to help them with a haunting or a ghost infestation.
I'm always going to be available for that. The only thing that I'm taking a rest from is doing the weekly tours. That's it. So I'm going to continue doing everything else I'm doing.
If people would like to contact you for more information, or if they have any questions on ghost hauntings or things that go bump in the night, how can they do that?
My phone number is 352-690-7933. And my email is Ocala, OCALAGHOSTWALKS @gmail.com.
Well, you know what, Catherine, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I wish you much success, and I look forward to the next time you're with us back here in the X Zone. So until then, take care of yourself and get some rest. You've got a busy Halloween coming up.
Thank you very much.
Nice talking to you, dear. My pleasure. Exonation, my guest.
Night.
You too, sweetie. Exonation, my guest this hour has been Catherine Wendell. She is with the Ocala. She's the owner of Ocala Ghost Walks and Historical Tours. Her website is www.ocalaghostwalks.com, and that's OCALA ghostwalks.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, if you have a question for me, or if you'd like us to bring a special guest on, or tell me your favorite topic, my email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. That's www.xzoneradiotv.com. This is the X Zone. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.